creator, the Reverend Awdry, spent time as a volunteer on the Talyllyn Railway, and this weekend the railway will celebrate 80 years of the series. We sent our reporter, Rob Shelley, along.
To begin at the beginning, even though that was actually done on Thomas, not Thomas the Tank Engine.
This is the first story in the very first book, Edward's Day Out. Once upon a time, there was a little engine called Edward. He lived in a shed with 5 other engines. They were all bigger than Edward and boasted about it.
80 years ago, when Britain was still fighting World War II, a series of blue, red and green engines were born in one man's imagination. Back then, the Reverend Awdry never guessed that one day his engines would take over the world, that they'd be as famous as the Flying Scotsman. But then again, them's the breaks. You've grown up with this, the first draft before it ever saw print.
When you're younger, you don't take on board how important it is. It's only later on in life you think, my goodness, we were there at the beginning.
So for so many people, there's a whole railway full of your childhood here on the Talyllyn, the actual models who once co-starred with Ringo Starr, not to mention the original stories in very neat handwriting, which have endured and travelled across the world, or in this case at least, as far as Texas.
You'll have a comparatively silly story, like the one where Henry gets pushed out of a tunnel by an elephant. And then you've got the one where Gordon confronts his own mortality and realizes that time waits for no man.
You brought your own railway to a railway.
I did bring my own railway to a railway.
So here on the Talyllyn Railway, where the Reverend Awdry volunteered and which he loved, a 3-day festival of engines, mostly smiling, humans, pretty much the same, and trucks, who look a bit fed up, to be honest. What has the Reverend Awdry's life done to people?
It's a very good question. He has changed lives the world over. I've got no one in my family with a railway background, yet it's my life.
The actual mainline railways, if the trains had faces where they could sort of pull frowns and roll their eyes when they were cancelled, we'd feel much better about it, wouldn't we?
You know, you could say, oh, you know, they tried so hard to get here. Look at how sad he is. Don't you feel bad for him? Oh.
I do like Thomas's eye roll. He does a great eye roll.
He does indeed. Yes, I was watching him earlier on this morning. It's amazing.
He's very animated. I'm not sure if it's the heat, to be honest. He might be 80, but Thomas and Edward, Gordon, Henry, they've all still got it.
Well, as we said, it's the start of the school holidays. Let's see how the weather is behaving. Here's Ruth.